Welcome to Behind the Audition podcast with your host, Curt Hilton. Listen in on interviews with voiceovers, filmmakers, producers, animators, and much more. Curt, a voice actor himself, will give insider tips to the business, talk with guests about how they got into the business, and be sure to stay tuned to the end of the podcast when he challenges his guests with a pop-up audition. Now it's time for Behind the Audition podcast. Here's Curt Hilton.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Audition podcast. Today I got to talk to the one and only Stefan Johnson. Stefan's a hilarious and very talented voice actor. He has millions of followers on social media. And if you're on TikTok, I guarantee you've seen one of his videos. We talked about getting into the world of voice acting, learning how to become a video game voice actor, how to market yourself on social media, how to get through those burnt out times, and much more. So sit back and enjoy another episode of Behind the Audition podcast. All right, on the show now we have the one, the only, Stefan Johnson. Stefan, how you doing today?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And just to let you know, you're the first to be on the first video podcast. So I'm excited to have you on.
It's an honor. It's truly an honor.
Wonderful. And, you know, I said it when I first called you, thank you for making your TikTok and all your content online because you have helped me through this tough time with the pandemic. I'm happy most of the time, but everybody has their days, and your content is just hilarious. The whole Note Before Cereal thing, for those who haven't seen it, you're missing out. I just love it.
Well, I'm happy. Like the whole reason I'm on social media as heavy as I am is because of the pandemic itself, because I, other than voiceover, in a few bands, and when everything started, there weren't any shows going on, so my bands weren't playing or touring or whatnot, so I had a lot more free time. And then people kept talking about this TikTok thing, and I ended up making an account, and 1.4 million followers after, here we are, so it's been a fun ride.
Absolutely. And as a voiceover, you're keeping busy all the time. Has TikTok helped get more gigs for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. From like the first couple of months, I was starting initially with just only with like voiceover content, like, mock voiceover scripts, or like sharing stuff that I've done, and, comedy riffs on voiceover. And almost immediately people started reaching out like, hey, I have this going on. Can you voice? Hey, do you have a card? Do you have a website? And, almost just about monthly, I'm receiving work from TikTok itself,
Wow. And I'm on TikTok, but I have like 14 followers, so I have a lot to go to get to that 1 million. So being new to TikTok, how long does one of those videos usually take you to make?
It all depends, because I have so many different like avenues I go down with my TikToks. Some are just rants. Like if it's literally just a rant, it could be like the 15 second length of the video. Or if it's like one of my skits, a skit can take a couple of hours. If I'm doing like one of my countdowns or my rating videos, maybe about 30 minutes. It really all depends.
I love how you do the nostalgic foods and the snacks. And the recently one I was almost crying was the velvet cake. The velvet cake, you had me rolling. And I used to eat Star Crunch snacks. Do you remember those back in the day?
I do.
Oh my gosh. I used to eat those every day after school, race home. And now I look at how horrible those look, but those are like the best nostalgic snacks.
And it was funny because actually one of my videos, I mentioned the Star Crunch in not so positive of a light, and it kind of raised it, but it went viral, so it worked out. So
it was good. It was good. And tell me how you got into voiceover. You have that perfect voice, and you use your natural voice, which I like. And with your TikTok, that you can kind of tell that your voice goes with your voiceover. How did you get into the world of voiceover?
Well, it started from high school. I ended up in drama class, and the drama teacher was also in charge of the morning announcements. So me showing up to drama class and auditioning for certain things, she heard my voice, and she was like, "Oh, you should do the morning announcements." So for from my freshman year all the way till graduation, I did the morning announcements, and everyone knew me as the voice. And then me being the misguided, angsty teen I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. And so our guidance counselor introduced me to, there's a media school in my state called the Ohio Media School. And she was like, "Oh, this would be a great option for you. Let me help you apply." And long story short, I ended up going there, thinking I wanted to be a radio DJ. But then I discovered that I don't really have enough to say to carry a radio show, but I discovered the world of voiceover. So I graduated there with my certification in broadcasting and whatnot. And even then, I didn't take it seriously. I would do voiceover stuff here and there, off and on for years, because I was in a band that was pretty popular. I was a manager at a restaurant, and I thought I was Mr. Big Stuff because I was a manager of a restaurant. I thought things were going well for me. But then about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized I was miserable working these regular jobs. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Managing this pizza shop when I could be out here doing what I know will make me happy. And I started to take it seriously then, started to build a studio, started to get training, started to build marketing and media here and there, and, went full time about 1.5 years ago. So I've been full time VO for about 1.5 years.
That's wonderful. And I've seen that you do work for Orlando Magic, McDonald's, a lot of video games. What advice would you give to those like yourself who got, when you first started, what advice would you give to those getting into the voiceover world? I know a lot of people say Google it, but what would you give to somebody who just got into the world of voiceover?
Don't procrastinate. That's my biggest thing, because I graduated broadcasting school in 2009. And I just figure if I would have taken it seriously 10 years ago, 2009, 10, 11 years ago, where would I be now? Because again, I'm doing well enough to be full time and live a comfortable lifestyle. But if I was taking this seriously 10 years ago, where would I be? So again, just that procrastination is a monster, and you guys got to get over that if you're looking to get into this field.
Absolutely. I see a lot of people wanting to get into the voice acting world who, they'll choose pay to play. They choose TikTok. They choose, just different ways to market themselves out there. What kind of marketing strategy would you recommend to those too? Because I see a lot of people, cold calling people, social media. Do you do that? Any like cold calling or emailing to get any of the jobs you get nowadays?
The vast majority of my marketing is social media marketing, and not just relying on like the TikToks, not relying on people finding me. I'll like about twice a day, I'll go and dedicate time just to go on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, find companies, find people in positions of hiring, send an email, make a contact, establish a relationship, and just try to, just make that contact. There's a bit of emailing too. I don't email as much as I used to. Email was my primary means, but then social media began to blow up and begin to kind of be my main bread and butter as far as finding my work. Cold calling, I have a lot of friends in the industry who swear by it. I've never found success with it. Granted, I haven't put in the time as my friends doing the cold calling. But I would say social media and email, that's a close second.
Very nice advice. And as far as voiceover work, do you prefer, promotions? Do you prefer video games? What type of work do you prefer to do?
I always say that I am a sprinter, not a marathon runner. So I prefer the promo stuff, the commercial stuff. I like video game and character work too. The only facet of work I really don't like, I'm not a huge fan of like long form narration. Those are a monster. But of course, I take all the work. I just deal with it.
I totally I love that train of thought, because a lot of people, when I first got into this, I was auditioning for everything. I was always getting I'd see an audition, be like audition. Do you ever go through a burnout stage where you're like, you just, don't want to do anymore? Have you ever gotten that way before?
Yeah, actually, towards the end of last year, I actually got very, very burnt out with so much stuff going on in my life. A lot of positive stuff, but it's just finding the time to do all the auditions and then do all the jobs and then try and create social media for, or create content for YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or whatever. I was very burnt out. And I even made a post on TikTok, you guys, I'm going to be pulling back for a little while because just got a lot going on, just need to get some ducks in a row. And that lasted for all of 2 days because I just, after a while, I just caught my second wind, and then ideas started to pop up. And that break I anticipated to be a month lasted about 2 days because I got over my, but yeah, that particular moment, I was very burnt out.
Is there one job that you love to get one day, like something that popped up? Is there a dream voiceover job that you want to get?
Well, I've done commercials, I've done promos, but I've yet to transition into movie trailers.
Okay.
Um, Probably the long game, end game goal for me is to book that very first movie trailer. I don't care what it is, but whatever the movie trailer is, if you want me, I'll take it.
So I saw that you have possibly a kitchen show or a fun kitchen show on TikTok coming out.
I have a few things working. I am working on a like an independent kind of a thing, just to kind of keep the content on TikTok and YouTube diverse. But then I was also reached out to another company that I can't speak about right now, and we're going to begin production on a kind of like a try it, internet fad cooking show where we'll take stuff that we see online and see if it's really good, and I'll make it in my kitchen. Can't say too much about that now, but so I have two things in the kitchen coming up.
Wonderful. Is there okay, so I got to ask you, what's your favorite snack?
Ooh, I mean, it all depends. If we're gonna go salty, I can say Doritos. If we're gonna go sweet, I'm a Snickers guy. If we're gonna go pastry sweet, I'm a brownie guy. So many different avenues. Loaded question.
All right, favorite fast food restaurant. I see them all the time. Let's hit you with the hard one. Favorite fast food restaurant.
Okay, Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Mm.
I agree with Wendy's. I like the fresh beef. Nothing there is frozen. So I heard you're a restaurant manager. I was one myself, and I totally feel you back in those days. Yeah. And did you ever make stuff up in the kitchen, instead of off your menu, just make stuff up all the time?
Yep. So at our little pizza shop, one day, one of my production workers, she came in with a bag of Skittles, and we were like, we should make a dessert pizza. And we're like, well, what could we use? We had the icing from little brownies we used to make, and we had cinnamon sugar from this other thing we used to do. So we took the icing and the cinnamon sugar and made a little personal pizza, and we also put Skittles on it. And it wasn't great, but it was ours. We took pride in it.
I saw the one of the last videos you did. You did the Fruity Pebbles with the milk chocolate, and
Yeah.
I could kind of tell that one didn't look as good as it sounded. So as going back to video games, that's one thing that I'm trying to get into. What advice for me would you give to landing a video game job? What would you tell those like myself wanting to get into the video game world?
Well, actually, it's funny because I've done a few video games and I'm looking to do more. So I actually was picking the brain of one of my friends, Bob Fieser. He's a indie voiceover talent for video games. And I was picking his brain about a lot of it, but it's pretty much the same thing. You're going to try to go on LinkedIn, go on Instagram, find these production companies, find these game developers, make the contacts, let them know who you are, what you do, let them know you're interested and available. Sell yourself subtly without being pushy. It's all a matter.
Absolutely. And it's time to have some fun. I have something called the Audition Challenge. It's time for the Audition Challenge. Today's guest, Stefan Johnson. Stefan, here's your script. Coming soon to grocery stores everywhere. The impossible has happened. The combo milk first with cereal trapdoor release kit. Introducing Miracle Milk, coming this summer. Where do we get the name Miracle Milk? It's milk and cereal unscrambled. Fantastic.
Coming soon to grocery stores everywhere. The impossible has happened. The combo milk first with trapdoor release kit. Introduce Miracle Milk, coming this summer.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I always, like I told you before, I've been doing that now, putting the milk before the cereal. I was like, I got to try this because I'm not a big cereal guy at all because it gets soggy, and I'm not a big soggy guy. And I don't drink the milk afterwards. A lot of people do that. I think that's gross. So I think that's something you could do one day with this idea.
I'm going to lock it in my data banks. I'll remember it forever.
Wonderful. So before we let you go, what is something that's coming out that you can tell us about that we can look forward to?
Well, actually, I would have to push my new cooking show I'm working on in the next couple of weeks. Follow me on TikTok at S_Johnson_voiceovers. I will be working on a lot of home cooking, home snacks. That's going to be coming. And you can also look out for me on Cartoon Network soon on something that I cannot talk about right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I am so glad to have you on, and I would love to have you back on in the future with some more of your future projects. And if there's any other advice you want to give to those getting a voice actor, take it away.
Well, again, I'm just going to have to drive home that fact that if you're thinking about doing it, tackle it right now, because you're going to look back 3, 4, 5 years from now. If you're already not happy where you are, most likely in 3, 4, 5 years, you're not going to be happy, and you're going to wish that you would have taken action. Don't procrastinate. Make it happen now.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for being on. I mean, I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Stefan Johnson. Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, Curt. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. To get in contact with Stefan, go to his website at sjohnsonvoice.com or go to our YouTube channel where we have all the links to all our guest information.
Thanks for listening in on Behind the Audition podcast, made possible by Hilton Productions. If you need a male or female voiceover, contact us at hiltonproductions.com. Hilton Productions, let our voices do the selling.